Hello, everyone. So nice to see everyone. We're doing English today, and I write this breakdown on the board basically every time we're here because I think it helps us figure out where exactly we're going as a class. So these first three categories, punctuation, grammar, usage, and sentence structure, we've basically covered those nonstop for the past three classes, right? We've done punctuation a bunch. We talked about these two with our golden grammar rules, right? So that's the stuff we've covered so far, and today I want to cover these quote-unquote hard questions, the organization, strategy, and author style type of questions. I have a way of covering these that's not exactly the same categories. I don't put them in these three categories. I have three different types of categories or different types of questions that I like to address, and I think if you cover these three types of questions, you'll understand how to do them, you'll understand what they are, you're going to be in great shape. Obviously that doesn't cover everything, but most of any question that fits in these categories will fit in one of my three categories on how to do it. So yeah, that's what I want to do today. I want to pose a question because there's two different ways we can do this. One thing I'm going to leave the same. I'm going to tell you what each of my three categories are. That's the first thing I'm going to do. After that, there's two different options. We can start practicing, and then as we come across questions, we can address how to do them, or we can address how to do them and then start practicing. So I'll leave that up to you guys. Do you guys like the first or second way better? Give me something, come on. Second way? Second way? Is that what you guys think? Sure. Second way, is that okay online? Do you guys like one way better than the other? Okay, everyone's saying thumbs up to second way, so that's how we'll do it. What did I say the second way? What was it? Address
it first.
Okay, cool.
I think, yeah.
All right. So sorry. I like doing this one both ways, so I normally let you guys decide whatever's easier, but okay. So let's start by breaking down our three different categories. That are these three categories are basically when you look for these. Each of them has a very distinct way of how to solve a problem like that, so that's why I break them up this way. The first one I think is a very important one that the strategies to answer this are a little bit different than what we're used to, but they're called top-heavy questions. So top-heavy questions are basically any question that has a specific revision task. So it'll tell you exactly what to do in the question. You just have to pay attention and do what it says, which is the hardest part. So we'll address exactly how to do it in a minute here, but that's the first type of question. The second type is organizational. Or we could just say organization, I guess. Organization questions. Now these can take a lot of different forms, but they could be asking about changing order, or including or not including, or where do you place this word or this sentence or whatever. My broad definition is they cover the order of words, sentences, or paragraphs. That's a broad definition. Obviously, they're more intricate than that, but that's basically the broad definition that I like to stick with. The last one, your book sometimes defines this a little bit differently. A lot of people who teach the ACT like to define these as two different types of questions. I think their strategies are relatively similar, so I classify them as one, and that would be relevance and meaning. So these specific questions are asking about the effect of a certain word or phrase. What does this word mean? What's the relevance of it? Or even meaning of the entire passage. Like, what does the whole passage mean? What does this paragraph mean exactly? So this could be main idea type of stuff, right? So these are going to be asking about the relevance of words, phrases, sentences, whatever, and main ideas. So a lot of the times, these are going to be those that are like this, kind of. You know, the yes because, no because, no because. You know what I'm talking about? These type of questions. We've all seen these, right? So those are the type of questions that fit normally into this relevance and meaning category. Okay, that was a terrible dotted line, but it's fine. So now let's address how to answer different types of these difficult or hard questions technically. The first one, the top-heavy questions, I think is the most simple, but the hardest at the same time because we get these wrong so often. So my recommendation is first things first, underline the revision task. And I promise you this is going to save you so many times because the questions are going to say something extremely specific. They'll be like, oh, pick the most, it won't say most, let me think, better. Pick the funniest answer choice is basically what the question is going to say. And you might pick the one that sounds best, but that's not what the question's asking you to do. It's asking you to pick the funniest one. So the important thing is read the revision task and underline it. It's very easy when we're in here and there's a tutor right in front of you and all your friends are sitting next to you. It's very easy to get questions right now. There's no pressure. When you get to the test center, all of a sudden you don't have a tutor in front of you. You have a proctor and there's a clock ticking and everyone's silent and it's cold in the room. It's a lot harder to do very simple things that we do all the time here when you're under that type of pressure. So something like this, underlining a word, actually makes your job significantly easier because you're not thinking, you're just doing it. It makes it a lot easier to not make mistakes. So this is one of those things that I really highly recommend. It just helps you stay like focused in a weird way. If you guys watch, I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's a very famous tennis player, Rafael Nadal. He's one of the best ever. One of the weirdest things he does is whenever he stands up to go take the court, he sets his water bottles down in a very specific order and then walks around them in a specific way and then walks onto the court. That's a very random thing that's very similar to just underlining, where it doesn't actually do a whole lot. This isn't doing anything to make him play better. What it does is focus his mind on a very specific thing. So if you're constantly practicing doing stuff like this, you're not going to forget it on test day. It just helps you.
What does it say?
Rafael Nadal?
No, what does it say? The underline the...
Oh, I think so. What is his name? I'm sorry. It says underline the revision task. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
My fault. Sorry. Underline the revision task. I know my handwriting's a little bit questionable, but... Okay. The next piece of information I have about these is underline the revision task and forget everything else. That sounds kind of ridiculous to forget everything. But what that means basically is literally don't think about anything else you know about English. Don't think about the economy rule, don't think about commas, don't think about punctuation, don't think about anything other than what that revision task is telling you to do. The reason is the whole point of a top-heavy question is to pick one that the question is telling you to pick. Don't pick the one that sounds best. Don't pick the one you would pick if there was no question there. Pick the one that follows the revision task. I cannot emphasize that enough. People get these questions wrong all the time, and they shouldn't be that difficult. It's just that we forget to follow the task. So follow the task. Okay. Organizational questions can be a little bit weird too, just because it's all about order, right? You could order words in a different way. You can order sentences, passages, whatever. The thing that you have to do is organizational questions are similar to puzzles, where you have to find the way the pieces fit together in a specific order. So what I would do that helps here is look for pairs. Look for pairs that fit together. So that could be things like events that fit together. You could look for some things like transitional words. Or even, you guys learn like that 5-paragraph essay format, right, in school, where they tell you like you have an intro and then 3 body paragraphs and then a concluding paragraph, right? We all know that. They teach you that in school. Not all writing is like that, but that's what they teach us in our education system, and that's what the ACT follows to an extent. So I don't mean look at that so much in the way of the entire essay as like an intro paragraph and concluding paragraph, because a lot of times they don't follow that. But think about that concept, but inside of one paragraph. So normally when you have a paragraph, what happens is you have like a topic sentence, right? And then a bunch of details, and then a concluding sentence. So I would think about that too, that anatomy of a paragraph, where it goes topic, details, and then concluding. That can be helpful if you pick out a topic sentence or a concluding sentence. It can help you know that, oh, this one goes first. Okay, well, this one goes last. And then you can start building the puzzle that way. That's mostly for questions where it'll be like, the most logical order of the following sentence is what? And then that'll give you a bunch of options, and that's how you do it. Yeah, so look for these things when you're looking for organizational stuff. Finally, relevance and meaning. The few different things you can do here is, there's 2 things you have to address and look back to when you're looking throughout the rest of things. The first one is, refer to the main idea and the tone. If you know the main idea and the tone, all relevance and meaning is going to be pretty simple for you. It depends on which one exactly you're answering. So if you're doing a relevance question, you won't exactly need these 2 things. This is more for those meaning ones at the end. The relevance ones, you would, basically it'll be like, oh, if the author were to delete this sentence, the paragraph would primarily lose what? Or should the author make this insertion? And they'll give you a piece of a sentence that they might want to insert or something. Those type of questions, what you should do is imagine 2 different possibilities. Imagine one possibility with that thing and imagine one without. So, get that out of the way for a second. Imagine with and without is another strategy you can do there. I saved this one that I'm about to say for last also, because I think this one's the most important and it's going to save you guys a ton. Most of you, I would assume, already do this one, so that's why I'm not putting a bunch of emphasis on it, but it is very important. This last one here is, especially when you have yes because, no because, no because, pick yes or no first. Before you look at the answer choices, pick yes or no. Now, the importance of that, picking yes or no, is basically the ACT, there's always one correct answer choice, right? There's one answer choice that the ACT wants you to pick and you're going to get credit for. The rest of them, you don't get credit. What's interesting is the ACT, when they give you these type of questions, let's say the answer is A. So yes because blah, 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 whatever blah, blah, blah is correct. They might put in answer choice C or D a very convincing explanation after the because, but the only word wrong is no. So a lot of the times, what happens if you don't pick yes or no right away is you're stuck between 2 answer choices. We're like, well, this one makes sense, but so does this one, and you can't pick between these 2. That's a problem, because it gets extremely confusing, and a lot of the times, if I get in that situation, I don't know what to pick. But if you, before you look at the answer choices, you read the question and you say, well, I think yes, they should make this in, like, this should be included. Then if you eliminate these 2 answers, it's often very easy to pick between these 2. It's not so easy to pick between, like, these 2. So I would say it's extremely important to pick yes or no before you answer or look at the answer choices. Does that make sense? Does this all kind of make sense? I know I kind of sprinted through that a little bit, but I want to have time to practice, so is this okay?
Yeah.
Online, does this, all of these make sense? Does anyone have any questions here? Okay, awesome. I know I went a little bit fast there, but I want to make sure we have time here to practice as much as we can. All right, so the way I like to, one last note, sorry, I should add this quick, but when we get to practicing, specifically for the ACT English test, I think there's 4 different ways or amounts of work you should take on at a time. So when you start, you should do 1 passage at a time. Then if you get more comfortable, maybe you go like 2, 2, and then 1. And then maybe if you get even more comfortable, you could go 3 and 2. And then by the end, you should be doing the whole test. So this is like a little progression that I recommend when we first start practicing. I didn't say this to you guys because honestly, I don't think you guys need this. As an advanced class, I assume you guys can handle doing 5 passages at a time. This is more for people who have never seen the ACT and are looking to build up their tolerance or how to handle 5 passages at a time because the ACT is long. But I think you guys are basically good on this. I just want to mention it in case anyone did want that. This is a good way to be able to be ready to practice full amounts of tests by test day. But anyway, okay, does everyone have this book with them? Big red one. Yeah? Okay. Let's flip to a free English test here. Can we go to page... if I can get it. Can we go to page 744, please? Can we check if that one is okay? It should be called A Mouthful of Music, is what it's called. Is that good? You guys haven't done that one? It's not in the homework. Online, can someone confirm y'all found that page too? Alright, sweet. So, in a minute here we'll start, but a quick running through my policies when we're doing this. Basically, I'm going to have this little timer sitting right here. And just watch the timer. I'll just say in the past, my advanced classes have never had any struggles with time, so I'm not really going to talk or trip about time at all. No pressure, but... What is this? There we go. So I'll have this sitting up here. And we will... Can everybody see that online? Can you guys see that? You guys see that? Yeah? Okay, great. Can anyone else see it? Oh, the one person responded. Can y'all see that? Can you turn the brightness up or something? Oh, this is max. Okay, cool. Other people are responding, it's all good. So I'll let it run for 9 minutes. I'll let 1 passage be done as a class. And then we'll come together. I'll do it as well. And then we'll come together. I'll address any questions that I have particular notes on. Any of them that fit into these categories or anything noteworthy that we've talked about in the past that I want to point out. And then after that, I'll open the floor up to you guys to ask any questions you guys would like. And then we'll go to the next one. And we'll just keep doing that. So the first passage, I'm going to give you the full 9 minutes. I might rush you on the second passage just to see what happens. If we gain or lose accuracy, just do a little experiment. But this first one, you'll have your full 9 minutes to do it. So take your time, don't rush. Is everyone ready? Stalling to get you guys the page. Everyone's on page 744? All right. And start. We'll come back together in 9 minutes. All right. That is about 9 minutes right there. That was really close. I almost stopped it right on 9. Did you guys see that? I was on 8:59.99. Really close, but whatever. Anyway, so there's 9 minutes. I'll go through the answers here, starting with question 1. You guys ready? All right. Question number 1 was C, 2 H, 3 B, 4 H, 5 C, 6 F, 7 A, 8 G, 9 A, 10 H, 11 D, 12 G, 13 B, 14 J, and 15A. All right, let's start with the 3 noteworthy ones I have are all actually ones that we've covered today, which is perfect. So let's start with question number 6. Question number 6 falls into one of these categories. This is a relevance or meaning question, right? Because it's saying if the writer were to delete the portion, the underlined portion here, the sentence would primarily lose what? So this is an example of relevance or meaning, right? This is testing the relevance of the words or phrases here. So testing the relevance of this underlined portion. What does it actually do? What's its function? And the strategy that I would use here is this one here, imagine with and without. So the first thing I would do is read the sentence without this underlined portion and then read it with. So if you read it without, it says the lyrics require much practice to perfect. Okay. Now if you read it with, the often tongue-twisting lyrics require much practice to perfect. So before even reading any of the answer choices, that kind of emphasizes how, if you're saying the often tongue-twisting lyrics, it kind of pushes another, like, it provides emphasis for how hard this really is. Like, you can't just say, oh, it requires a lot of practice. Well, yeah, maybe then it's just really long, or like it's just hard to memorize or something. But if you say the lyrics are tongue-twisting, that particularly emphasizes how hard this is. So if you go through the answer choices, the one that matches that most would be answer choice F. Does that make sense? Did most of us get this one? Yeah? Is that how you guys did it too? Awesome. Online, did anyone have any trouble with that one? No? Okay, perfect. Let's jump to number 9. Number 9 fits in with top-heavy questions where it's giving you a specific revision task to follow. So remember what we have to do is underline the revision task. So here, I'll tell you what I underlined. As I was reading the question, given that all the following statements are true, which one, if added here, would most effectively introduce the subject of the paragraph? So I underlined effectively introduce the subject of the paragraph. We're looking for something that effectively introduces the subject, and that's it. We don't care about anything else. We don't care if it sounds good, if it's grammatically correct, none of that matters. It just matters that it's effectively introducing the subject. It's kind of hard to introduce a subject that you don't know yet, so I would read a little bit further to figure out what the subject is first, and then you'd go on and pick the one that most effectively does that. So if you go a little bit further down while you're reading, it says, oh, the instruments were expensive and scarce, and to fill the void, mouth music emerged. So what they're talking about here is mouth music didn't happen because they wanted to make music with their mouths. It happened because there was no instruments, because people couldn't get them. There was a necessity. And that's talked about most with answer choice A. Does that make sense? We all did the same thing there, right? Online, did anyone have trouble with that one? No? Okay, awesome. And then 15, I can almost guarantee you the last question of every passage is going to be some sort of hard question. Not always, but most of the time. Question 15, question 30, 45, those ones are going to be, in general, pretty hard. So this one says, given that all the choices are accurate, which one most effectively expresses the idea that bands incorporate classic Celtic music and current influences? So I would underline there, bands incorporate classic and current influences. So that's what we're thinking about, right? Which one of these talks about that? And the only one that mentions both properly there would be A. So that's why it would be A. No one had trouble with this one either, I'm assuming? Anyone online have trouble with that one? No? Okay. Does anyone have any other questions they'd like to talk about? Any that you got wrong and don't understand? Did well on this one? Okay, good. Online, you guys did good on this one? Okay, great. Yeah, perfect. Let's go ahead and jump to, I'm actually going to skip ahead a little bit. Can we do passage number 4? Hold on, let me make sure. Yes, let's do passage number 4 here instead of number 2. So number 4 starts in the bottom of page 750. I just think this passage is a little bit more engaging. I think you guys kind of breezed through the first one, so I expect this one will be a little bit more interesting than that one. But okay, and this time I'm going to intentionally pressure you on time. No one had any trouble with time, right? You guys did okay? So I'm going to lower that time. Instead of 9 minutes, let's make it like 8 minutes, 7:30. So try, I know each of you has your own pace, but the reason I'm doing this is I want you to push yourself a little bit. Try to go a little bit faster just to see how that affects your accuracy personally. No matter, don't worry about if you normally finish in 7 minutes. Still push yourself a little bit just to try to go a little faster. Just in case you have to do that on test day. I don't anticipate any of you having this problem, but it's nice to practice that. So I'll cut you off a little bit early this time, so be prepared for that. But is everyone ready? Okay, your 7 minutes and 30 seconds / 8 minutes starts now. That was about 8 minutes there. It's close. Hopefully you felt a little bit of time pressure there and pushed yourself a little bit. We'll see how you did overall. Did anyone not finish in the 8 minutes we had? No? Anyone online, anyone not finish? No? Okay, perfect. Good. So everyone pushed themselves at least a little bit. All right, let's check our answers here, starting at 46. Okay, question number 46 was F, 47A, 48F, 49B, 50G, 51D, 52J, 53A, 54G, 55D, 56J, 57C, 58J, 59B, and 60H. This one had quite a few of the questions we talked about here, these harder ones. Starting at 48, 48 was a top-heavy question. It said, given that all of the choices are accurate, which one provides the best transition to the information following? So the revision task is to pick the one that provides the best transition, right? So based on that, the best answer would have been F. The other ones don't exactly transition very well between the two pieces of information. I won't address any of these directly and talk about them unless anyone wants me to, but 54 was relevance and meaning. We talked about a relevance question already, so I won't talk about it. I will mention something quickly about 55. This one technically counts as an organizational type of question. Normally they're going to ask you an organization to change the order of like an entire paragraph or like move a sentence or move something bigger. And this one is just asking you to move one word actually. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, you're moving one word to the end where it fits properly. So yeah, 55 is organizational. 56 was another top heavy one. 57 was top heavy. So you got to underline your revision tasks there. And 60, is one of those organizational ones where you should be looking for a pair of two things that fit together. The web page there, when it talks about the web page included a key, that's a type of clue that you could go fit with something else. And then if you look at point C in paragraph 3 here, that point has, it's right around it is talking about a quick search online. So it makes sense for web page and online to fit together. So that's how you would answer that type of question, is look for pairs like that. Yeah, so that's why H was correct. Those ones we were all good on, right? The hard questions that we talked about today. All those made sense? Okay, awesome. Did anyone have any question that they wanted to talk about? No? Online, do you guys have any questions there? No. All right. Well, then I will let you out a little bit early. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week.